Okay, so yesterday I got a download, but I'm not telling you until today because that's just how it went. Okay, it just went like that. So I'm trying to get the pieces to the puzzle together. What was the other thing? Un momento. Okay. So should I talk about this part first? Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna mention this part first. So in the Bible, I don't know if you guys remember it because, like I told you, I feel like the Bible is a code that we need to crack, and there's puzzle pieces to the truth in there. Yes, we know everything is not right in the Bible. However, it's like breadcrumbs for us to decode. Beat. Okay. So I was thinking about that part in the Bible where the king basically told his soldiers to end all of the firstborn male children in Bethlehem. So it says, in the biblical account from the Gospel of Matthew, Herod the Great, the king of Judea, did order the killing of all male children 2 years old or under in and around Bethlehem. This act, known as the Massacre of the Innocents, was a direct result of his fear that a new king, Jesus, had been born who would challenge his rule. Herod was informed of the birth by the Magi, who were seeking to worship the newborn king. When he realized he had been outwitted by the Magi, he ordered the slaughter. Okay, and let me just look for the scripture. Then Herod, when he saw that he had been tricked by the wise men, became furious, and he sent and killed all of the male I don't even want to say this. Like, it doesn't even feel right to say it. I don't like to say it. But he had them off the little ones. And I mean, that don't even sound good, but listen. Just listen. In Bethlehem and in all that region, who were 2 years old or under, according to the time that he had ascertained. Is that what? I'm not sure if I'm saying this name. Why am I so tongue-tied? I'm not sure if I'm saying this word right. Let me see.
Ascertain.
Oh, I did say it right. It didn't feel right. I don't use that word often, but it says, according to the time that he had ascertained from the wise men. What does ascertained mean? Let me make sure. Find something, or find out for certain, make sure of. But it says find, parenthesis, and in parentheses it says something, out for certain, make sure of. Okay. Then was fulfilled what was spoken by the prophet Jeremiah. A voice was heard in Ramah, weeping the loud lamentation. Rachel weeping for her children. She refused to be comforted because they are no more. Okay, so you see how the king basically put a hit out on all of the male children to stop Jesus from affecting his rulership. He didn't want his rule to be challenged, so he figured, oh, we'll just off everybody. Anyone that could possibly be the Messiah, do away with them, basically. Okay, so there goes that thought right there, right? And then I just started thinking about how our children are attacked so much in many different ways. Now, the way that came to mind yesterday when I was thinking is that stop and frisk. Okay, I know you guys remember that stop and frisk amendment that took place. So I'm just going to read it to you real quick. And it says, stop and frisk practices, while rooted in the Fourth Amendment's protection against unreasonable searches and seizures, have also been linked to potential violations of the First Amendment, particularly concerning freedom of speech and assembly. The practice established in the Supreme Court case Terry versus Ohio in 1968 allows police to briefly detain and pat down individuals based on reasonable suspicion of criminal activity or danger. And what is really reasonable suspicion? What? A hoodie? Like, what is it? What is it? Come on. Okay, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, discrimination or discriminatory enforcement. Okay, so it says, in essence, while stop and frisk is primarily a Fourth Amendment issue concerning search and seizure, the potential for its misuse to suppress free speech or assembly, or the perception of discriminatory enforcement, raises First Amendment concerns as well. It says here, the NYPD has historically used stop and frisk to target young black and brown men. In 2013, a federal judge ruled that this violated the Fourth Amendment protection against unreasonable search and seizure, as well as the 14th Amendment protection against racially discriminatory policing. So, does this coincides with ending the firstborn son to stop the Messiah from rising? Because the whole idea is, I don't want you to challenge my rulership. So this is just one of the things that I thought of to express or to illuminate in what ways certain practices in the Bible that were listed there for us to actually see are still being used today in abstract ways, which is the reason why these rituals keep happening over and over again in different ways. It's like a blueprint. It's like a guide to continue on with the same ideology, just in different ways, just getting creative with it. I don't know the statistics of how many of these young men were arrested behind these stop and frisk encounters. Let's see. Let me look it up. It may not be accurate, but it's just to give us an idea. So it does say it's difficult to provide precise figures on the number of young men directly jailed solely due to stop and frisk encounters, because the statistics are not always broken down by age and gender in a way that is directly comparable to incarceration rates. However, it's clear that stop and frisk disproportionately impacted young people, particularly Black and Latino individuals. So the youthful targets show here as a significant percentage of those stopped were young people, with a high percentage being between 14 and 24 years old. That is very young. That's that tender age where you don't even know what you're doing all the way. You probably are doing something where you don't even know that you're doing it. That could, I don't know, how can I say it? It's kind of like at that time, you're still learning, you're still growing, and you're like fresh, like you know, young, fresh, and green, to where you don't have any knowledge of much of anything. You just want to be out with your friends having a good time, and then you have issues like this with stop and frisk going on. And once that arrest is on someone's record, it becomes very challenging for them to be able to get a job, be respected in society. It becomes very difficult for them to feel confident. It could also shatter someone's confidence, because if you had this on you and you didn't do anything wrong, but it looks like you did because it's on your record, like you have a record now because you went to jail for something insignificant like this, but it just what I want to say? How do I want to say it? It ignites a bad pattern almost in some people, because once recidivism becomes a problem, because once someone goes to jail one time, it's likely that it could happen again. And it doesn't happen to everyone. I'm not saying that everyone that goes to jail goes again, but due to the environment, the likelihood can increase because there's not much opportunity. And then when a person tries to change their life for the better and get a job and they can't find one, and then everybody's looking at them sideways because they have a record now, and this starts young. So if I just destroy them while they're young, they won't have the capacity to even be able to challenge the rulership that is set in place, you see. So that is basically the download that I got yesterday. That's one of them. There's another one, and I wrote it down, but right at this moment, I don't remember what it was because I have a lot of thoughts. But I just wanted to share that because it's just something that I thought about. And another way that this is enforced is through the music. The rap music is very violent, and it's very the frequency that is placed in the music does affect the minds of our young people, and it makes them want to hunt each other. Okay. Unfortunately, and the environment, the state and condition of the environment enhances the spell that comes from the music. And I love music, as many of you do as well. But to know that the music is being used in such a way, I don't appreciate it. I don't. And it's a big reason as to why so many young people are ending up deceased now, because that hearing that type of music over and over again, it puts you in this mode to hunt and want to destroy things, because it's just the vibration of it with the words that are used in the music and the frequency that is used in the beats. It causes a shift in the mind. When you hear the same song over and over again, what does that do? Right, exactly. I'm sure most of you thought about it. You know, I just want you to think as well when I just share these connections that come up in my mind when I think about them. And sometimes I think and things just start connecting. So I recognize that the ways of Herod are still being used today. Is that how you say his name? I believe it is. Herod the Great, the King of Judea. It's Herod. So that that ideology is still being used in an abstract way, is my point. And that's basically that's it. That's the message. So yeah, that's just basically it. That's what I wanted to let you know. I just wanted to share that with you so that you could see it too. That's all I'm saying. So that's it for this message. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you in the next message.